Welcome, everyone. As always, we appreciate all of you being here. Obviously, coming off the year that we had, we're excited about the group that we've brought in. You heard Kevin talk about a lot of the new faces that we have, so we brought in 8 new players. We had an opportunity this summer to get a head start in a way when we went over to Italy and Greece and played a few games, so that was exciting for us and our group. Just an incredible experience for them, and then also gave us an opportunity to see some of the new faces that we have and what they were going to be able to do for us kind of in their first look on the floor. Currently, we got a few guys banged up, so we're trying to get through practice. We're much younger than we were, so we have really good days, and we have days where I've tried to have a lot of patience as well. So we're continuing to be a work in progress, but I do think this group works really hard. I think we filled some of the needs that we needed to fill with the loss of 6 players to graduation, 2 to the portal. And so our staff has been working extremely hard. I also added Danielle Patterson, who played for us the past couple years, now as a GA for us. So she's done an incredible job so far. And I also added a familiar face in Aaliyah Lewis, as a director of recruiting for us, and she was our point guard for our championship team in 16. So I feel like our staff is in a great place. The energy level they bring every day, I think, translates over to our players. And like I said, we're excited about the growth that we've seen from a lot of these young ones, and obviously the opportunity to bring back 4 of our players from last year, and their ability to translate the leadership that was shown last year by a veteran team to this group, who's obviously much younger. So the excitement is here. This always is, for me, like the kickoff to the season. So as I said, appreciate you guys being here.
All right, we'll open it up for questions.
Joe, I feel like I ask you this question every year, but does it feel like you're going into number 12?
Physically, maybe? No, I mean, not really, but in a way it does. You know, I blink my eyes and I can still go back to 2013 and feel like I'm right there. So for me, no, it's every season is so different, every team is so different, and just the opportunity I've had here, forget about year 12, you think about year 21 or 22, and I was 22 years old when I started here, and so looking back at that number is a little bit more daunting to me personally. But no, it's been an incredible place for me to be and to grow and learn, and I'm a product of what St. John's is and what they want people to be, not only just as a student but as a professional, along with being a product of the Big East. I take a lot of pride in being a young coach in a league at the time, to me, that was the best in the country. And as we continue to strive to be there again, you know, after realignment. So that's the long answer, but yeah, it feels like year 12 in some ways. In other ways, I can blink my eyes and be right back in 2013.
Just have one more. How meaningful is it to the program, to you, that you get another game against UConn at UBS, and then you're also this year part of the Holiday Festival at the Garden?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's New York provides us with so many opportunities, and we tell recruits and our players that all the time. So to have the opportunity to play in different venues, to be on different stages for people to see you, especially in those types of arenas, yeah, sure, it's priceless. It gives you a little bit more energy, a little boost. Playing UConn there at UBS, you know, getting pounded by 30 wasn't fun, I can tell you that. But you know, obviously the next game that we were able to play there, I think that prepared us to play them the second time. But being back at the Garden is special. I mean, I can't say that enough. So December 16th to be part of the Holiday Festival, playing at 6 o'clock against Villanova. There's no better stage to me in the game of basketball than being at the Garden. And so our players are extremely excited. I'm excited. I think it puts not only our program, but also the league in a tremendous spotlight, you know, to be in that venue. And so I never take that for granted. I can promise you that. And I think we've been in there 11 or 12 times, and it's special every time we go in there.
Hey, Joe, good to see you.
Good to see you.
You look pretty rested. Can you talk about some of the new players that we're not familiar with and the ones you expect some big contributions from this season?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the returners first. You look at Unique Drake, who will be the most veteran player on our team. She was the 6th Woman of the Year last year, and earned that right without question. So Unique is going to be a big part to what we do as she kind of moves into a role she's had as a starter, but also someone who she's going to have to really pace us through the year. And between her and Jillian. Jillian comes back, I think, as the third leading rebounder in the league. She had a number of double-doubles last year, just an incredible player, and I think she took a huge jump in her development last year when she got here to us, after she transferred in. But Jillian and Unique are veteran players. They're both 5th-year and 6th-year players for us, and they've been great leaders, to our younger players. And then also, Jayla Donald, who you didn't get to see much of last year, and she averaged about 20 points a game in the 3 games that we played overseas. And so I think she's going to be a big one for us to step into the spotlight as well. And Sky, who was with us also, has to be a big part of what we're going to do on both ends of the floor, especially in the point guard position. So, those 4 really have an opportunity to make an impact. Unique and Jillian, who did last year probably from a standpoint of minutes and contributions, but Jayla and Sky need to bring us something as well, and I think they both will. When you look at some of the kids we brought in, Amber Brown from Pittsburgh, she's 20 rebounds away from 700. I mean, she's an incredible athlete. Started, I think, 110 games in the ACC. At Pittsburgh, and so she brings us a veteran quality, a certain toughness level that we love to play with, along with bringing in Bernaya Mayo, who was a champion at UMass. She was their starting point guard. She won an A-10 championship, regular season and conference tournament, played in the NCAA tournament, so someone who's been battle-tested in high-leverage moments, and so they've both been terrific. Our other 2 transfers in Tara Day, who came from DePaul, obviously knows the league, athletic, defender, plays extremely hard, and Phoenix Gideon, who came from Robert Morris, who is an incredible rebounder, strong-bodied kid, and gives us some depth, in the front court. So we're excited about those 4, and our younger players continue to improve. When you look at Julie, Nevaeh, Tiana, they've all come in, and Jada Brown have all come in and I think taken leaps and bounds from the summer. So we're excited about the group. We need all 12 of them. Like I said, we're banged up right now, but I like what I saw this summer. I just gave you every player, Andy, so there you go.
Yeah, you took away from what my question.
Sorry, Roger.
Last season, you maybe went into the season without a lot of expectations and had an excellent year. Are there things about the way that you coached that team that you think you can use again this year? Maybe something new that you hadn't done before that you did last year that you can use again this year?
Yeah, I think, as I said earlier, every team and every personality of every team is different. And last year, and having a lot of experienced players, veteran players, we were able to move a little bit faster than we probably could right now. So what I've always known is I haven't really changed a lot of what I've done since I've taken over in terms of what we do on the floor. But my demeanor, my patience, and then also I think making sure that we are teaching at a certain level. Last year, we had players who had returned. We had a bunch of returners, and we brought in 3 transfers, all of which were older, and picked things up quickly. So what I learned early, again, this year is when you've got a youthful team, okay, we've got 4 freshmen, 2 sophomores, out of our 12, that's half your team, you've got to really make sure that you have them locked into understanding what the fundamental things that you want them to do on the floor. So it's more about a pace thing, I think, from instruction standpoint, more film, continuing to get reps, I think spending more time with them outside of the time we're in practice. So those are some things that I think I would just probably change from where I was last year because they were older and we were able to move at a certain pace, and we had 6 players who had been at high-level programs or were here. And so, to me, right now, we continue to build from what we've always been. We're going to guard people. We're going to play as hard as possible. We have to show a certain level of toughness. None of that changes. And so from year to year, those expectations stay the same. Obviously, we've lost a lot. But that's why you have to recruit the way you have to recruit and continue to build what you're coming off from, whether it's from last year or even years prior. So, but I think the patience part and making sure that we're teaching probably more this year than we had to last year in kind of what we're trying to build.
Joe, you mentioned Danielle Patterson, adding her to the coaching staff. I mean, she's been a leader for you guys since she came in here a couple years ago as a player. I'm curious as to how valuable she has been this offseason for you guys, especially with a younger roster, and what you envision her role being going forward throughout the season.
Yeah, I mean, you know, DP really just brings us someone who has I think, a great mentality, not only just for the game of basketball, but in life. I mean, she's one of the most mature kids I've coached in my time, someone who's played on a national championship team. She's played at, 2 Power Fives and then came back home and saw success, with us. So her story is important. It took me 3 times, but we got her on the 3rd one. But her story is important to be able to tell the success she had, the struggle she had, the way that she got through those. And then also just being able to be a voice, for the players in the locker room. And she's done a great job of separating herself. Sometimes it's hard when you just finish playing and then you've got to be, in some ways on the staff, because you are. But also, it takes a certain type of player to be able to do that. And I think Danielle's done a great job of that. And so whether she wants to coach or go into the workforce, I never worry about her. I think she's going to be an incredible member of society in whichever way she wants to contribute, whether that's as a mentor or a coach or someone who's working. And so, her experiences, I think, are her most value, and she works extremely hard. She's the first one in, and most of the times the last one out. And so that's what you look for when you look at kids who want to coach. But that just shows you how she was as a player. She was as feisty as anybody, as you guys could see when she played. And I think she really enjoyed herself and thrived here as a player.
This will be our last question.
Joe, when you look back at last season, you get the 3 transfers coming in, and you come so close to a second-round game in the tournament. Just what does that say for the program moving forward, that you're able to adapt to this new era and blend in experience with your continued player development here?
Yeah, I think it just, again, it validates what you do a little bit. And I think when things don't go your way, in certain moments, whether it be as a coach or as a team or in life, that I think if you stay true to what your values are, what will work, what you want your team to look like in this case, and you stick to that, I think things will always bear out on the side of success. And the biggest thing that we did, I thought, and again, last year was last year, but when you look back at it in terms of your question, we brought in the right personalities to fit the ones that we already had, those that were buying into what the mentality needed to be. And we were able to do that quickly through retention and then also through the portal. I mean, that's the reality. And so it will continue that way. But what I can say, and as I said, we are a bit youthful. When you've got 23 or 22-year-olds playing against 18-year-olds, you're probably going to take the older crew. And so in building, and when you're looking at things, you do need to have a good mixture of that. And that's something that's not easy to find all the time, but something that you always have to look at. And I think that's something that we have to face. And it's not easy for these young players because that's what they're facing. They're facing players that would be in the pros at times as an 18-year-old. So, but I think the way that we made up our makeup of our team last year was one that was not only from an experience standpoint great, but also personality and mindset. And that's what we're trying to carry over time. And in the 12 years I've been here, you know, in the years that we've had. And we've had sustained success, and we've had a couple years that were tough. But those teams that have been really successful have had the same mindset that I've been talking about through toughness and combativeness and playing with a certain edge. And that's what we're trying to keep.